Welcome to the EOB Podcast, where we talk about the weekend box office and the new openings this week. I'm Benno, and if you're wondering where Sen went, he won't be available for the next couple of podcasts. I don't know when he'll be returning, but when he does return, we'll talk more box office with him. So let's jump right in with the box office. So last weekend, we have two new wide releases opening. We have the Wonder Woman movie with Gal Gadot as the lead as Wonder Woman and co-starring Chris Pine, and directed by Patty Jenkins, who directed movies that you probably heard of. Monster is the only other one. Which was released back in 2003, and she get another chance. A lot of years in between, and with Wonder Woman. And then there is Captain Underpants by DreamWorks Animation, and sorry to say, my opening projections for both movies were wrong, way off. In one case, in the Wonder Woman's case, is way lower than what it actually opened to, and in Captain Underpants, the first movie, the first epic movie, I believe that's what it's called, I was way high. So let's jump right in. Coming in number one is Wonder Woman. It pulled in 100 million. About when the actual figure comes in, it might be a bit higher or a bit lower, but in any case, the estimated figure is 100 million. That's the opening weekend numbers. I projected the movie to come in around 65 to 75 million, mainly because Wonder Woman is, even though she's very popular, we don't know her standing in the superhero universe among all the fans. And there's a lot of things against this movie having a huge opening, because Gal Gadot, number one, is not a proven lead yet. Right, she has always have these supporting roles, and this is her first major breakthrough role. But we've seen her in Batman vs Superman. She made an appearance there, and this is the origin story where she came out of her island and get herself involved in human matters and fight in World War One. I was wrong in the previous podcast. I said she fought in World War II, but she's actually fought in World War One, at least in this movie. I'm not sure where the comic is, like where she came out. It could be World War II, but maybe I read that maybe they want to make it different from Marvel's Captain America. Captain America fought in World War II against Nazis, and they decided to place the setting in World War One. So that's how it went. So Wonder Woman pulled in 100 million, way ahead of my 65 to 75 million opening, and this movie proves that hey, you can have a female lead in a superhero movie and it will do well. This movie is well reviewed. On Rotten Tomatoes is 93%. On the Monday or Tuesday that I did the podcast at that time before it opened, it was at 97%. So you can expect the numbers to drop a bit on their opening days when more reviews comes in. But right now it's 93%, which is still overwhelmingly positive. I believe it is the highest reviewed DC superhero movie. Like the reviews point out, this movie allows the character to have fun, and it is a criticism of Zack Snyder's superhero movies, DC movies. Once he take over, you could say, the DC cinematic universe, he kind of take what was started by Christopher Nolan with his Batman movie, dark and gritty, and he kind of infused that with his Man of Steel movie and the Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice movie, and probably with as you can see with Dawn of Justice, the Justice League movie that's coming up. But with the two that's not directed by Zack Snyder, Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman movie, these movies or the characters in them, they're allowed to have comedy to fun. People say that's what's missing. Dark and gritty might work for a character like Batman, because he is this guy whose parents got killed, and he's has this worldview that he lost his parents and he became Batman, deranged kind of, right? The line between him and the criminals, or really depends on who he's working for, right? Wonder Woman, I guess, is a break from his movies. So fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your view, right, it is the highest opening for a female directed movie. The previous record holder was 50 Shades of Grey, with 80 some million or so, but this one 100 million. Patty Jenkins, people saying this broke the glass ceiling or whatever for women movies or woman director, but I don't know. Yeah, you could say that, because this one gives a woman a chance to direct more movies, take more high profile pictures. So will it cause a change? I doubt it. I mean, it's still a male-dominated world. Hollywood is. In the back end, they still favor male directors, and people have been clamoring about this. Well, we won't want to touch that, okay, for now. But I say this is kind of a blip where it opened more doors. Maybe there will be more consideration, but I don't see. It's a slow process, you could say, for female directors taking on more high-profile pictures. Anyway, great start for DC. Meaning, hey, a movie doesn't have to be dark and gritty. Like I say, with the Batman movies, the Zack Snyder stuff, and that could be colorful and fun and bright. Kind of like the Marvel stuff, really, right? But hey, it proves that this movie, Wonder Woman, and a new outlook, a new storyline can do wonders. This movie will actually kind of shine a light or be a light for the rest of the DC movies to follow. They don't have to be dark and gritty like the Nolan Batmans. They were, $1 billion franchise, and they could have fun with it with all their various characters. And good start. And hopefully they could vary that with just like the Marvel movies, right? They could have political thrillers, they could have comedies, action comedies, adventure, etc. So good start. Wonder Woman, 100 million opening, and the reviews will definitely help it. It will definitely stay in theaters for a bit. And once you have a movie with such gravity, Wonder Woman, has a 100 million opening, that means it won't leave much for the rest of the movies on the list. And coming in number 2 is Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. It pulled in 23.5 million, and I said this movie could probably open in the 50 to 55 million range, which is what typical DreamWorks animation movies open to, like Home, like the previous one, The Boss Baby, or Trolls. Trolls had a 47 million opening, which is kind of a branded property as well. But I thought that Captain Underpants, which is based on a very popular children's book, could do better. I said it could probably open in the 50 to 55 million range because, hey, look, the characters are appealing, but apparently not that appealing. It only did 23.5 million. I'm not sure if it's due to Wonder Woman or it could be due to the brand itself. I mean, kids might have outgrown the book already and they probably don't want to watch a Captain Underpants movie. In any case, very disappointing outing for DreamWorks feature, and especially one that's based on a popular children's book. But hey, can't win them all. It's well reviewed, 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's not bad according to the critics. But it only had a B+ cinema score, which is average audience score. Audience, you've seen the same thing. It's an okay movie, not great, but average. There's a lot of other movies coming to theaters that appeals to kids and the family audience, so I'm not sure how long it'll be able to hold up. And for DreamWorks Animation, it's another strike against them. I mean, they were doing so well with their movies, Home, The Boss Baby, Trolls, and this is one of the branded failures, I guess. But, I heard this movie only cost about 45 million to make or so. They're going to make money out of this. It doesn't cost them a lot of money to make. If what I read is correct, it did indeed cost only 45 million to make. This is an awesome opening for a movie that costs just that much. But disappointing in the sense that it's by DreamWorks Animation, and DreamWorks Animations usually have openings in the 50s or above, depending on if it's Kung Fu Panda or if it is How to Train Your Dragons and Madagascar movies, all that. But in any case, if the budget really is about 45 million, it's a good opening. Alright, let's move on to number 3, which is occupied by Pirates of the Caribbean, and it dropped a huge 66% in the second weekend. Huge because the movie only opened to 63 million for 3 days, 78 million for 4 days. That's the Memorial Day weekend. It opened to that. The previous movie, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, had a 90 million opening. So you can see the audience erosion here with the Pirates movies, and that's domestic. Let me see how. Oh no, it's in the process of updating. Okay, let's wait a bit. Let's wait a bit until box office finish updating. That's the thing about Box Office Mojo site, is they don't have the best back end. I think they're just running off a simple thing, and once it updates, it kind of slow. It kind of takes out the site, can't really access it. So we're gonna have some dead air right now. Okay, we're back. Okay, since the Box Office Mojo site is back up, we have the actual numbers right now. Wonder Woman actually went higher with 103 million. Captain Underpants is 23.8 million. And Pirates of the Caribbean, 22 million. So still, since we're talking about Pirates 5, like I said, we can see audience erosion with the Pirates movie, with the subsequent one. The peak is the second movie with 133 million, at least domestically here, right? And then the third movie, it had a opening of 114 million. By the fourth movie, it dropped down to 90 million, and the fifth is 62 million. So domestically, this franchise is on the decline, but hey, there is the overseas market, and the overseas is strong. The first movie had a worldwide gross of 654 million, second movie 1 billion, third movie dipped a little bit but still there, 963 million, and fourth movie back up to 1 billion, and the fifth movie has a worldwide gross of $500 million, 508 million. So it's getting there in terms of box office. Let's see, China has a 67 million opening, right, which is pretty good. So we'll see if it holds up overseas. Already it crossed $500 million. Will it be another 1 billion take? The budget is 230 million. It's already kind of at break-even point. So if it gets near the billion mark, it's doing pretty good for itself. And for Johnny Depp, more Pirates movie on the horizon. If this one holds up, even though the domestic take is declining, the audience doesn't care about. Well, I mean, not doesn't care, but you can see that the interest level here is tapering off. But still doing pretty well overseas. Okay, moving on to number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is in its 5th weekend. It pulled in about 9.8 million, experienced a 52% drop-off. It's a superhero movie. You can expect a high drop-off because, Wonder Woman is pulling the same audience from there. So domestic gross right now is 355 million, and the worldwide take is 817. So all in all, it's doing pretty well. When the first movie came into, people were kind of unsure of how these characters will do, right? Guardians of the Galaxy is not as popular as the Avengers, Iron Man, Thor, but it opened very well, and it's a comedy to boot, right, with a good soundtrack. Volume 2, more of the same, I guess, and even better review, I believe, and it performed better. Alright, moving on to number 5 is Baywatch. It pulled in about 8.7 million over the weekend. Experienced a 53% drop-off in its second weekend. Domestic gross right now is 41 million. Budget is 69. And worldwide is at 67 million. So, as you can see, this movie is let me see how wide it is open. So it's only open in limited markets overseas. So that's why we only see a take of 25 million overseas. So as they expand more, we'll see more. But this movie has The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, Zac Efron, Priyanka Chopra, a very popular Indian actress who is in the TV series Quantico. She was in the TV series Quantico. There you go. The movie only cost 69 million. It's nearing its budget worldwide, so it's gonna turn a profit theatrically, but it's not the hit that we thought it is, because usually Dwayne Johnson's movies open in the 35 to 50 million range, and this one only opened to 18. So people's appetite for Baywatch movie, a tongue-in-cheek comedy, might not be there. People are laughing at it instead of with it. So there you go. Baywatch movie. I'm not sure if people are asking for more, but if they can keep the budget low, they could churn out another Baywatch movie or do these things straight to videos. They could find a home with Netflix, for example. They can make it cheap, have good-looking people, even reboot the TV series. They're a big brand. Moving on to number 6 is Alien Covenant. Unfortunately, this movie continues to kind of underperform here. It only pulled in about 4.1 million, 61% drop off from the previous week. This is only in its third weekend, right? It only pulled in 67 million. Budget is 97, and worldwide it's 173 million. So it's not doing that well overseas either. But I'm not sure if the China figures in yet, because that's a huge market right there. Budget 97 million for worldwide take of 173 million. So it's okay. I guess it's breaking even, but not the huge moneymaker that Fox thought it could be. Will we see more Alien movies? I'm not sure, because we're seeing people's interest in this franchise kind of diminishing, right? Starting with Prometheus, and then follow up with Alien Covenant, which is directed by Ridley Scott, by the way, both movies. Maybe people are not looking for a thinking man's Alien movie. They rather want Aliens instead of Alien. James Cameron, more action-packed movie instead of more thinking person's sci-fi horror. Which is probably what Ridley Scott's interest lies in. So I'm not sure if there's more Alien on the way. I'm sure there will be. It's a brand that people will want to resurrect, but would Ridley Scott be involved? I don't know. All right, number 7 is Everything, based on a book, YA novel about a teenager. She is inflicted with this condition. Her immune system is poor. She has to really stay in this house, or else she'll get sick, once exposed to the germs outside. But she met this cute guy next door, and he kind of broke her out of this bubble, so to speak, right? Metaphorically and physically, out of this bubble of her home, and get to experience the world. And of course, real life catches up to her. She got sick, but we don't know how it ends. I haven't read the book, I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know how it will end. But this movie, it's doing surprisingly well for this adaptation. The movie only cost $10 million to make, which is a pretty good budget, and already pulled in about $28 million domestic. So all in all, I think it's a modest success for this low budget YA novels. As we said, Sen and I said previously, the YA genre has really taken a nosedive, but if you priced it accordingly, not throw 50 million plus like the Maze Runners, the City of Bones, it can still do well. You can't really hit it out the ballpark like the Hunger Games anymore, or the Twilight movies. You have to budget accordingly, because the teen audience are really fickle, and you really don't know what works or not. But budget 10 million, I think it's a good price for the YA genre. All right, number 8 is Snatched. It's the comedy with Amy Schumer and Goldie Hawn. It put in about 1.3 million. You can see we're getting in the single digits already. By the fourth one with Guardians of the Galaxy, and just drop off from there. So Snatched, 1.3 million, 67% drop off from the previous week. Wow. So audience are really turning away from this already. You could say, Wonder Woman might have pulled people from this one. Target toward females. They might went to watch Wonder Woman instead of Snatch. Domestic gross is 43 million so far, which is kind of about around where its budget is. Budget is 42 million, and worldwide, it's only 54 million. So as we said previously, comedies don't usually travel well overseas, and it didn't. So that's Snatch. Number 9 is Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul. It only pulled in 1.3 million. Drop off is 71%. Why? Because Captain Underpants target the same group, just a children's movie. So huge drop off. Domestic gross in its third weekend is about 18 million, and budget is 22. So it's struggling along. It's not going to get any better for this movie, as more children movies are coming along. Will there be more Diary of a Wimpy Kid adaptations? They're thinking long and hard after this one, since you can see the interest level is not that high. They have to probably lower the budget some more to make another one. But let's take a look at the overseas box office. Overseas is only 6 million for worldwide gross of 24 million. So it's not looking up for this franchise. So I think we might see this could be the last one theatrically. I mean, they might be obligated to make another one, but who knows? Just to keep the rights, right, and make it cheap, or do a TV series out of it. So who knows where they will go from this? But theatrically, they're thinking hard on greenlighting another one. All right, number 10, rounding out the top 10 is King Arthur: Legend of the Sword. It put in about 1.2 million. Huge drop off, 64%. A dud here. Domestic gross is only 37 million. Budget is 175. Overseas is a little bit better with 93 million for worldwide gross of 130. So yeah, a bomb we can say. And as we said, this one, Warner Brothers and Guy Ritchie want to make this the launching pad for a potential franchise, a multi-movie franchise. And with this box office performance, they're stopping at 1. All right, so that's it for the top 10. Let's go on to the new releases this week. We have kind of sort of 4. We have The Mummy, which is going to be the biggest one, which it is the reboot with Tom Cruise in the lead. It's one of their Universal's monster cinematic universe, so I think it's gonna somehow link up to the other ones with Dracula, and others, The Mummy, Wolfman. We don't know how that'll work out, but anyway, Tom Cruise is a Tom Cruise movie with mummies, or mummy. And then there is the horror movie, It Comes at Night. We don't know how many theaters that's going to be, but it's opening nationwide. I suspect it's going to be 1,000 or so, but who knows? It could be less. And there's this Megan Leavey. It's based on a true story about a bomb-sniffing dog and his or her caretaker, played by Kate Mara. And then there is about in 500 theaters, My Cousin Rachel, which is a thriller with Rachel Weisz in the lead, and we'll talk about that. Distributed by Fox Searchlight. So let's talk about The Mummy, directed by Alex Kurtzman. He directed a movie called People Like Us, which only pulled in about 12 million, but he wrote a couple movies you might have heard of, like The Island, the first Transformer movie, and the second. There's the Star Trek movies, Star Trek reboot, and Star Trek Into Darkness, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and Mission Impossible 3, and also The Legend of Zorro. So, he wrote a lot of blockbusters, Transformer movies, The Amazing Spider-Man, and the Star Trek movies. And he's getting into directing, making his debut in the 2012 movie People Like Us. Is a drama with Chris Pine, who he collaborated with in the Star Trek movies. How will The Mummy do? You've seen the trailers. Tom Cruise got involved with a mummy. She is this evil presence. Way back when, the Egyptians back then kind of entombed her, and Tom Cruise's team, archaeologists I believe, found the coffin, broke her out, and now he's tied to the mummy, who's a woman, and she will bring evil, I guess, biblical terror with locusts, sandstorms, and other stuff. I guess. Budget is 125 million. I don't know. Are people really interested in a mummy movie, even though it has Tom Cruise in it? I don't know. How will this movie do? It's kind of hard to predict. Tom Cruise's movie, Oblivion, is this sci-fi movie. Had an opening of 37 million. Went on to have a domestic gross of about 90 million or so. His Jack Reacher movies, the first one opened to 15 million. Went on to make 80 million domestic. The sequel, Jack Reacher Never Go Back, 22 million opening, 58 million domestic. But his movies did really well overseas, so that's why, even though it has a low domestic gross, he's actually bigger star overseas, right? He's an international star. But since we're talking about domestic box office here, and I don't think anyone is asking for a mummy movie, and then there's Wonder Woman in theaters, I believe people are more interested in that because of the word of mouth than Tom Cruise actioner. So I think it's gonna perform probably somewhere between like Oblivion and the Jack Reacher movies, some opening somewhere in the 20s to 30s. So let's go with that. There are no reviews yet. Usually that's a bad sign. I think people, if they're looking for a spectacle, they're gonna go to watch Wonder Woman. So I think this movie is probably going to open in the, like I said, 20 to 30 million range, but let's narrow that to 25 to 30 as the range. It's because of Tom Cruise. He's an international action star. But, The Mummy, I wouldn't be surprised if The Mummy opened lower, actually. 20 million, right? The range is 20 to 30 million, okay? But I say 25 to 30 million mainly because, hey, Tom Cruise add a couple more million to the lower take. All right, then there's the horror movie, It Comes at Night. It's kind of like 10 Cloverfield Lane, really, about a a group of people kind of trapped in this house, and then this horror that's outside. There's gas masks involved. Something is making these people killing each other. It's well reviewed, 88% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. But then again, we don't know how wide this movie will open to. Assuming that it's open in about 1,000 theater or so, or 500 to 1,000 theaters, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that wide. I think it could probably pull in about 5 million or so because of the higher profile movies. But it does star Joe Egerton, who has his own niche in these movies. The Gift is one which performed very well. Low budget thriller. It continues to hang on in theaters. Like I said, it might get lost, especially in the face of more high profile movies. But of course, these movies, these kind of movies or Joe Egerton movies, usually make their money over time. So you can expect if this one is well reviewed, it will stay in theaters. And even though it might not open well, it could end up making money. Could be a modest hit for distributor A24. And then there is the movie Megan Leavey, again, a movie that's kind of open nationwide, but we don't know how wide it is. About this soldier's a Marine, and she teamed up with this bomb-sniffing dog. And, her fight about adopting that dog once her service is over. Kind of feel-good movie, patriotic movie, Marines. But again, how many people will want to watch this movie? It is based on a real story, but it's going to get lost in the shuffle. It is a movie for the art house theaters with Kate Mara in the lead. I think it's going to open in the 3 to 5 million range because I don't think interest is high for this type of movies. But who knows, right? It depends on how wide it is. Finally, this horror thriller starring Rachel Weisz called My Cousin Rachel. It's kind of a period piece about this woman played by Weisz who caused the death of a man, and his relatives went on to investigate and try to get revenge for him, and somehow ended up falling for her, and he ends up kind of get afflicted. We don't know. It's a psychological thriller, and he ends up falling for her and getting turned into crazy. I mean, is she this witch? We don't know. Again, a minor movie. It's gonna open, in the sub 10 million range or sub 5 million range even, but with 500 theaters. It's well reviewed, 80% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, but the audience is limited for these kind of movies with My Cousin Rachel, Megan Leavey, and it comes at night. So let's go with maybe a 1 to 3 million opening for My Cousin Rachel, because Wonder Woman is gonna suck up a lot of the money, the box office for this coming weekend. I'm not sure if the Mummy can challenge. I don't. Well, with my 25 to 30 million opening, my bet is that the Mummy won't challenge Wonder Woman for the box office crown. Wonder Woman is going to repeat. All right, so the Mummy, I have 25 to 30 million opening because of Tom Cruise's star power. I'm not sure if people want a Mummy movie, really. But it's there. We'll see where Universal take this cinematic universe, starring with their monsters, right? And then there's the horror movie. It comes at night, kind of like 10 Cloverfield Lane. We don't know what's going out there, but there's something causing these people who's grouped in this cabin try to kill each other. And then there's the drama Megan Leavey about a Marine who's trying to adopt this bomb-sniffing dog. Could open to 3 to 5 million. And My Cousin Rachel is open in 500 theaters. It's kind of small, so 1 to 3 million opening. All right, that's it for this week. See you next week. Bye-bye.